Alright, what's going on? So, it hasn't been too long actually. I think I just uploaded that last video a couple days ago. You know, I've got some free time now, so figured I would do another one of these stupid, dumb fucking videos. Give me something to edit. And I'm kind of in the mood to talk about some death metal stuff, so I've gotten quite a bit of it in recently. So that's what we're gonna do in this one. This is what we got going in the background of this one. This is the new Fluids release called Ignorance Exalted. I don't know if this is a full-length album or a demo or whatever, but I ordered it a little while back and it just came in from Maggot Stomp today. And this is some pretty fucking nasty death metal, so I've played this a couple times since it got here. Great shit. And by the way, I would recommend, if you like seeing records and shit, follow me on Instagram, because I'm a lot more active there than I am on YouTube. I always include a link to my Instagram in the description, but I figured I'd actually mention it since I don't think I ever have before. I post records there like literally daily, so you know, you have a better, more comprehensive idea of what my collection looks like on Instagram than you would in these YouTube videos, because I'm so fucking backed up. So yeah, I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably somewhat interested in seeing records, so yeah, check that shit out. And there's really no reason to babble on for too long, so let's get into it. The first thing we have here is a newer band from Seattle, I believe. And this band has put out 2 releases now, and both of them have been absolutely fucking killer. And I'm talking, of course, about this. This is Fetid, with a sentient pile of amorphous rot. So like I said, Fetid is from Seattle. I remember there being one of the guys from Caustic Wound in this band though, and that band is from Portland, I believe. So I'm not really sure. But yeah, man, this band, like I said, has put out 2 releases now. A demo, which is this, and then a full-length album that came out last year called Steeping Corporeal Mess. But it's also my understanding that this band had existed before 2016 when Fetid was born as a different band, I guess, called Of Corpse, which I've never actually listened to, but probably should, because man, like, if it's anything like this first demo, then Jesus fucking Christ, man. So I would argue that this is like 20 of the fucking nastiest minutes you could spend with modern death metal. Mostly this is sort of more slow and groovy, but there are fits of like random grinding speed. It doesn't really last too long. This is mainly pretty slow, but like the super groovy moments and the super deep gurgly vocals are really tough to beat. You'll see some comparisons to like Craig from Incantation, like his vocals. I think I prefer these. They're just a bit more like gurgly, which I fucking love that shit. And this is the repress from 2018. The first press also came out in 2018, but it was on like blue vinyl. This is just black. But I'll show you. I love the fucking front cover. Really cool. Back cover, you got the 3 band members and the 4 song titles put out on Baneful Genesis Records. The vinyl itself is just black, but I like the Fetid logo. And there's side B. But yeah, man, super cool to own this one. You have to get this one secondhand at this point. I don't think there's any distros that still have it. I had to get it through Discogs. Fantastic. I'm sure you guys probably know Fetid, but if you don't, this is one of the better death metal bands going right now. Fantastic. That sentient pile of amorphous rot. Alright, we're gonna go way back now to 1991 to talk about one of the more classic death metal bands. Though, I guess as I say that, I kind of have always sort of felt that this band just never really got the recognition they deserved. Of course, I think that most people watching this video probably will have heard of this band. I just sort of feel like, I don't know, especially this first album just never really made it up to where it should be in terms of popularity, in my opinion. And that is, of course, the very first Deceased album, Luck of the Corpse. So this is the first full-length album that came after a fat stack of demos and I think an EP. that were released within like the years between 1987, I think, and 91. And this is back when King Fowley was still doing drums and vocals for Deceased, which he hasn't been doing for a number of years now. I think it has to do with like his health or some shit. But I fucking love this record, man, because like, not only is it one of the earlier death metal records that I ever heard, this one really just has the feeling of a bunch of kids playing just as fast and brutal music as they could. And this is still kind of early enough where it sort of still rides a line between thrash metal and death metal. I love the high energy that exists in this record, and it's super cool, man. Also, I think I remember hearing somewhere a long time ago that Deceased was the first band to ever sign to Relapse, and I know the first press of this was put out through Relapse Records back in 1991. And this never really, like, nobody ever really kept up with vinyl presses of this one. I don't know if it was like a lack of demand or what, but it was repressed, I think, in 2009 or maybe 2011 through House Headbangers, but they only did it on a picture disc, I think. So this is the first like regular vinyl press of this one since 1991. But yeah, I don't know, lots of character to this one. I like that, you know, it's sometimes sloppy and it doesn't feel overproduced or anything like that. This existed in a really good time for death metal, and I really like it. Front cover is super cool. I know that's from a movie called Black Sabbath from the 60s, I think. There's the back cover right there. The inner sheet has some really good pictures on it. That one right there, that image right there is on that big wooden box set that I have, which is cool, but I like this one an awful lot. The vinyl itself, there was two versions of this. I think there was two versions. Black, and then there was this blue and white sort of swirl. 666 copies, very fucking nice. But yeah, man, just a great fucking band. I haven't heard everything that this band has done because there's been a lot of it, and you know, I'm sure it doesn't all stack up to as good as this is. Though I will say my favorite Deceased album is Supernatural Addiction, which came out way after this. But anyway, great band, great fucking live band. Even now, I saw them a few years ago, and then a couple years before that. But really fucking cool. If you've never heard Deceased, maybe start with the early stuff. It's pretty accessible. Check it out. Luck of the Corpse. Alright, we're gonna stay talking about some early examples of death metal for a minute. And this is a super early example of death metal coming from somewhere in the world that didn't, maybe not quite third world, but definitely somewhere that the resources were a bit more limited than somewhere like the United States or somewhere in Europe. Because this is Mortuary from Mexico. And this is the first full-length album, Blackened Images. It came out in 1990. And of course, this is the recent Iron Bonehead press of this one. That includes the Where Death Takes Your Soul demo that came out in '89, I think. And that's on the second record of this one. And you can obviously tell this uses the alternate cover. It's not that weird, like, dark blue one. Which I fucking much prefer this, definitely. But yeah, this is a great fucking album, man. I really have like this very deep affinity for these early death metal bands that are still pulling heavily from the thrash playbook. It's just a really, really nice combination for me. Though I'm sure we've probably all heard Mortuary, especially with this having been repressed for the first time in what, 7 years or something? Because I think there was a 2013 press that used the original album cover. But yeah, it's great, man. I love the album cover. It looks like a very early 90s death metal album cover. There's the back cover right there. You have a picture of the band, all the track listing, and like I said, it does include the Where Death Takes Your Soul demo. This was put out through Iron Bonehead. It's a gatefold, which is very nice. You got all the lyrics and then a bunch of old flyers and band pictures and shit. This does include a little poster of the album cover, which I actually quite like this. I'd like to find somewhere to put it. And this is a double LP. The first LP has the Blackened Images album on it. and the second LP has the Where Death Takes Your Soul demo, but side B has an etching of the band logo, which is quite cool. This is obviously black vinyl. It was also available on red vinyl with black splatter, which I think was 100 copies. Black vinyl was 400. Yeah, man, old school death metal greatness. I fucking love this record. I remember hearing about this a long time ago. For anyone who remembers the Rob Doran vinyl videos from like fucking 8 years ago, I've always said that that guy is one of the main reason that I started making these videos. But he talked about this long time ago, and I've really liked this record ever since, and I'm glad to finally have one. So badass, man. Check it out if you haven't heard it. That's Mortuary with Blackened Images. So this one's really not a death metal record, but you know, I think it's close enough to the realm of death metal that it'll fit nicely into this video, I think. Last Days of Humanity with Hymns of Indigestible Separation. So yeah, not a death metal band. This is more of a like gore grind. But yeah, Last Days of Humanity is a band from the Netherlands. They formed back in like 1998, I think. And this is the, I think, second full-length album after Sounds of Rancid Juices Sloshing or something. Yeah. This record only had like a picture disc press of this one up until this year when Hell's Headbangers, I guess, got the rights to do their own vinyl press of it. And of course they always do everything justice. But man, if you've never heard this record, or if you've never heard this band, absolutely every aspect of this is completely inhuman sounding and very chaotic. The vocals especially are super fucking inhuman sounding. It almost sounds like the guy took a swig of something and then kept it in the back of his throat and just did vocals up into the air like that, or maybe just put his lips into like a fucking inch of water or something, just recorded vocals that way. But yeah, 21 songs on this one. They're all super short as per usual with grindy shit. I refuse to pick a favorite song because honestly they all kind of sound the same, but in a good way. I don't know, whatever. The fucking album cover is just some guy who lost his brain. It's over here though, he'll find it. The back cover also has a picture of a really unfortunate guy. He lost his face though. I'm not really sure what happened, but god damn it. Super glossy cover. All the track listing and shit at the bottom. Gatefold includes more pictures of some super fucking lucky dead dudes. And the band members are all in jail for their crimes against humanity. This record also includes a poster. Probably won't hang this one up because just doesn't really fit with my aesthetic. There was, I think, 2 options for this one. There was like, I think it was white and blue, like half and half. But there was also the option for a multicolor splatter, which I thought was super cool. The labels are fucked up, which is weird given all the other photography on this one is so family friendly. That's 333 copies, by the way. Yeah, man, this is a great record. I'd like to see Hell's Headbangers put some of the other full-length albums out, specifically the first one. But then again, this might be the first one. I'm not as familiar with like the chronology of this band's discography as I probably should be. But if you want it, you can still get this one. I think both versions are still for sale, so you know, no excuses. Check it out, fucking disgusting. Last Days of Humanity, Hymns of Indigestible Separation. Alright, finally, we're gonna talk about another pretty early example of death metal. This is Amon with a Sacrificial. Quick history lesson, I'm sure no one needs it. Before Deicide, there was Amon. It existed between 1987 and 1989 before this band changed their name. And this is the same 4 guys that did all the Deicide stuff up to, I think, the Stench of Redemption, I think. So obviously Glenn, the Hoffman brothers, and Steve Asheim. I'm glad he made that noise to sort of hide the fact that I probably totally mispronounced that motherfucker's last name. So yeah, that's basically what this is. This includes the 2 demos that Amon did before changing their name, Sacrificial and Feasting the Beast. And pretty much all of these songs, with the exception of, I guess, the intro on Feasting the Beast, and Oblivious to Nothing on here, which was probably Oblivious to Evil, just got a name change. But man, I gotta say, like, for being demos, these sound really, really good. There's the album cover right there. It's very silly, early death metal style art, very cool. The back cover right there, you have the track listing. This was put out through Buried by Time and Dust, and from what I can gather, it pretty much looks like Buried by Time and Dust is the label that kind of first presented this as like an Amon release instead of a Deicide release. Because you can get these 2 demos, but they're kind of presented as like a Deicide compilation, which is weird. But yeah, this is, I don't think this even says Deicide anywhere on it, which, you know, I actually prefer that since this wasn't Deicide. But yeah, man, really cool. Back over, you got all the band members, which I probably already said. Gatefold, again, all the band members. This is just black vinyl. You got the Amon logo on this side, and you have somebody with a inverted cross burned into their arm on the back. This includes a little poster, but it's kind of more of like a flyer for a show that happened in 1989 in Tampa, Florida, which is cool. And it also includes a lyric sheet with a bunch of band pictures and stuff on the back, which is very cool. But yeah, man, I mean, if you like the first Deicide album, this is basically those songs, but like demo quality versions of those songs. I actually don't have the first Deicide on any format. So, not that this will be a replacement, I'll get it eventually, I'm sure. But it's nice to own the songs. Fantastic shit, man. Like I said, you probably all heard it, but if not, that's Amon with Sacrificial. That's it, guys. That's 5 more records, bunch of death metal this time. It just got way darker outside. So I'll get another one of these out pretty soon. I'm about to have a bunch of free time, so yeah. Orlok and I are probably just gonna keep listening to music, and I'll start editing this a little bit later. And yeah, we'll get another one of these out soon. Right, buddy? Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and we'll talk soon, guys. Later.